On our way home, my 7-year-old granddaughter grabbed my hand. "Grandpa, to the bathroom, quick!" She locked the door tight. "What's wrong?" I asked. She whispered, "Shh, look under the door." 2 sets of feet, adult shoes, standing perfectly still outside the bathroom in my own house, listening. My son David's loafers, and those expensive heels his wife Miranda wore. Not moving, just waiting there like predators outside a rabbit hole. I'm Nathan Cole, 53 years old, former high school English teacher who now works part-time at Fletcher's Hardware because retirement didn't pay what the brochure promised. I raised 2 kids alone after my wife Claire died 5 years back. Taught them about integrity, hard work, all that garbage parents tell themselves matters. Turns out I was training my own executioners, but I'm getting ahead of myself. My granddaughter Emma pressed her finger to her lips. Smart kid, smarter than her father ever was. I flushed the toilet, ran the water, bought us 30 seconds. When we opened the door, David and Miranda stood there with smiles that didn't reach their eyes. "Everything okay, Dad?" David asked. "Bathroom emergency. You know how it is." I kept my voice light, but my hand stayed on Emma's shoulder. "Protective." Miranda's smile tightened. "We need to talk about next week." Next week. The wedding. David's big society event where he was marrying into the Westbrook family. Old money from the coast. 6 months of planning. 200 guests. Venue that cost more than my annual salary. I wasn't paying for it, thank God. The Westbrooks handled everything. "What about it?" I asked. "Just logistics," David said. He wouldn't meet my eyes. "We'll talk later." They left. Emma looked up at me. "Grandpa, why were they listening?" "I don't know, sweetheart. But I did know. Or I was starting to. You teach high school English for 25 years. You learn to read people. The sideways glances, the careful word choices, the way David had been asking about my apartment lease lately. That night, I couldn't sleep. Lay in bed in my rent-controlled apartment on Maple Street, the place I'd lived for 30 years, and stared at the ceiling. Claire's voice echoed in my head, something she'd said a month before the cancer took her. "Promise me you'll take care of them, Nathan. They'll need you." I promised. Kept that promise through David's college loans, my daughter Sarah's failed business ventures, every crisis and drama. Now Sarah lived in Seattle, barely called anymore. David lived 10 minutes away but felt like a stranger. The wedding was Saturday. 5 days away. Before we continue, hit the hype button, subscribe, and like the video to help the channel grow. Tell us which city you are from in the comments. We'd love to get to know our audience better. The Harborview Club sat on the cliffs overlooking the Pacific. White columns, marble floors, the kind of place where the waiters earned more than I did. Miranda's family had connections. David worked in commercial real estate now, made decent money, but this was another level entirely. I showed up Tuesday afternoon for the walkthrough. Family only, the invitation said. I wore my good sport coat, the one I saved for parent-teacher conferences back when those mattered. Miranda's mother, Patricia, greeted me at the entrance. "Nathan, how nice you could make it." Her tone suggested it wasn't nice at all. "We're just finalizing seating arrangements." Inside, they'd transformed the ballroom into something from a magazine. Ice sculptures, flower arrangements taller than me, a cake that probably cost more than my car. David stood near the windows with Miranda, looking at seating charts. "Dad," he waved me over, "we need to figure out where you'll sit." "Anywhere's fine," I said. "Actually," Miranda held up the chart. "We've got you at table 12. Near the back, it's closer to the restrooms. Thought that might be more comfortable for you." Table 12. I counted the circles on her diagram. 12 tables, each seating 10 people. Table 1 was for the wedding party and immediate family. Table 12 was where you put the people you had to invite, but didn't want seen. "The back table," I said. Not a question. "It's a very nice table," Patricia added quickly. Too quickly. Right by the terrace doors. David shifted his weight. Dad, don't make this difficult. It's just seating. Sure, I said, just seating. But it wasn't. It was a message. You're not important. You're an embarrassment. Stay in the corner where the important people won't notice you. I should have left then. Should have seen what was coming. But you don't abandon your kid's wedding, even when that kid is clearly ashamed of you. There's one more thing, Miranda said. She reached into her purse and pulled out an envelope. We need you to sign this. I opened it. Legal documents, dense paragraphs of whereas and heretofore. My eyes caught key phrases. Transfer of property interest, relinquishment of claims, apartment lease reassignment. What is this? I asked. Just a formality, David said. His voice was too casual, rehearsed. You know how legal stuff is with weddings. Community property, that kind of thing. I'm not a lawyer, but I taught kids to read critically. This wasn't about community property. This was about my apartment, the rent-controlled place I'd lived in since David was in diapers. The document was asking me to transfer the lease to David. Why would I sign this? I asked. Miranda's smile vanished. Because you're living in a space that could benefit the family. David and I need somewhere affordable to start our marriage. Your apartment is perfect. I'm living there. You're living there alone in a 2-bedroom while young couples struggle to find housing. It's selfish, Nathan. She called me Nathan, not Dad, not Mr. Cole. Nathan, like I was some stranger. Where exactly would I go? I kept my voice level. We've looked into senior communities, David said. There are some great options, more social interaction, activities, people your own age. I'm 53. Exactly. You should be around peers. Peers. He meant old people. He meant warehousing me somewhere out of sight while he took the apartment Claire and I had made into a home. I'm not signing this, I said. The room got quiet. Patricia exchanged glances with Miranda. David's jaw tightened. Dad, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. I'm not giving up my home because you decided you want it. It's not about what we want, Miranda said. Her voice had an edge now, the politeness stripped away. It's about what makes sense for the family. You're being incredibly selfish. I looked at my son, really looked at him, saw a stranger in an expensive suit who'd learned to talk like these people, think like them. Somewhere along the way, I'd lost him. I'll see you at the wedding, I said, and walked out. Behind me, I heard Miranda say, I told you he'd be difficult. I sat in my car in the parking lot for 20 minutes, hands shaking. Not from fear, from rage. The kind that makes your vision narrow and your heart pound. They wanted my apartment, wanted me to just hand over 30 years of rent-controlled living in a city where studios went for $2,000 a month. Wanted me to disappear into some senior facility while they played house in the place where I'd raised them. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through contacts, stopped at a name I hadn't called in 8 years. Tommy Vickers. He'd been my student back in 2015, a smart kid with a bad attitude and worse friends. Got mixed up in debt collection after graduation, the kind of work that lives in legal grey areas. I'd written him a college recommendation letter anyway, because I saw something in him. Last I heard, he ran a recovery firm downtown. The kind of firm where people paid their debts or regretted it. I called. He answered on the second ring. Mr. Cole? His voice was deeper now, but I recognized it. Holy hell, been a long time. I need a favor, Tommy. Silence. Then, you in trouble? Not yet, but I might be soon. Where are you? I told him. He said, stay there. I'll come to you. 30 minutes later, a black Mercedes pulled up next to my rusted Civic. Tommy stepped out. He'd grown into his frame, filled out the shoulders, wore a suit that probably cost more than my monthly salary. But his eyes were the same. Sharp, calculating. He slid into my passenger seat. Talk to me. I told him everything. The apartment, the documents, the wedding seating. He listened without interrupting, the way good students do. When I finished, he said, "You think they'll push harder?" "I know they will." "You want me to talk to them?" "Not yet. Just be available, in case things go bad." He smiled. Not a nice smile, the kind that made people nervous. "Mr. Cole, you know what I do for a living now, right? I have an idea. And you still called me. I called you because you're loyal. You remember who helped you when no one else would." He nodded slowly. "Yeah, I remember. You got my number now. Anything happens, you call. Day or night, I'll be there." "Tommy, I don't want anyone hurt." "Hurt?" He laughed. "Mr. Cole, there are worse things than getting hurt. Trust me, I know lots of them." He left. I sat there thinking about what I'd just done, crossing a line I'd never crossed before. Calling in someone whose reputation made grown men nervous. They just didn't know it yet. 3 days until the wedding. David called Wednesday morning. "Dad, about yesterday. I think we got off on the wrong foot." "You want my apartment," I said. "That's the right foot." "It's not like that. Miranda's just stressed about the wedding. You know how brides get." I didn't respond. "Look, forget about the lease thing. We'll figure it out later. Right now, let's just focus on Saturday. It's important to me that you're there." "Important." The word felt hollow. "I'll be there," I said. "Great. And Dad? Maybe don't mention the apartment thing to anyone. Miranda's family doesn't need to hear about our personal business." Our personal business. Like he wasn't trying to evict his own father. I hung up and went to work at Fletcher's Hardware. Spent 8 hours cutting keys, mixing paint, helping contractors find the right screws. Honest work. The kind that doesn't involve stealing from family. My boss Jerry found me in the back room during lunch. "You okay, Nathan? You've been quiet." "Family stuff," I said. "The wedding?" "Yeah." Jerry nodded. He was 68, had 3 kids who never visited. Family's hard. They know exactly where to stick the knife. He didn't know how right he was. That night, I did something I'm not proud of. Went through the boxes in my closet, the ones with Claire's things. Found her journal, the one she kept during her last year. I'd never read it, felt wrong, like violating her privacy, but something Tommy said had stuck with me. They'll push harder. I needed to know if I was imagining things, or if there was something real here. I opened the journal to the last few months. Her handwriting got shakier as the cancer progressed, but the words were clear. March 15th. Talk to David and Sarah about after I'm gone. They're worried about Nathan. Think he can't handle things alone. Maybe they're right. April 3rd. David asked about the apartment lease again. Says he and Miranda need a place. I told him Nathan needs stability right now. He got quiet. April 20th. Sarah called. Said David's talking about power of attorney. Medical decisions. I don't like how this sounds. May 8th. Can't shake this feeling. The kids are planning something. Nathan thinks I'm paranoid from the meds. Maybe I am. May 15th. Talked to Lewis at the firm. He says the apartment lease is in Nathan's name only. He's protected. But David keeps asking questions about the life insurance. How much? Who's the beneficiary? I changed it last week. Everything to Nathan now. The kids don't know yet. My hands shook reading that. Claire had known, had seen what I was too blind to see. Our children were circling, waiting for her to die so they could divide the assets. The life insurance, $300,000. I'd used most of it to pay off the house debts and medical bills. What was left sat in a savings account, untouched, about $70,000. They wanted that too. Saturday morning arrived with fog rolling in from the ocean. I put on my only suit, the navy one from Claire's funeral. It still fit, barely. Drove to the Harborview Club and parked in the overflow lot, because the main lot was full of Mercedes and BMWs and Teslas. The ceremony started at 3. I arrived at 2:30 and wandered the grounds, staying out of the way. Guests filtered in, women in designer dresses, men in $1,000 suits. I recognized some faces from David's work. None of them recognized me. Table 12 was exactly where Miranda had promised. Back corner, half hidden by a decorative column. The other 9 seats were empty. Nobody wanted to sit at the exile table. The ceremony was beautiful, in that manufactured way expensive weddings are. White roses, string quartet, vows that sounded like they'd been written by a greeting card company. I watched from my distant pew as David promised to love and cherish Miranda. Wondered if he remembered making similar promises to his mother, to his sister, to me. Promises about family loyalty and staying together. The reception started at 5. I stayed at table 12, eating rubbery chicken and drinking bad wine. Nobody came to talk to me. I was the embarrassing relative, safely tucked away. Until Miranda's father gave his toast. Richard Westbrook stood at the head table, microphone in hand, glass raised. He talked about Miranda's childhood, her accomplishments, her bright future. Then he turned to David. When Miranda first brought David home, I'll admit I had concerns. He came from humble beginnings. But he's proven himself, built a career, learned our ways, became someone worthy of our daughter. He left his old life behind. That takes courage. Left his old life behind. Translation, abandoned his working class roots, abandoned me. The guests applauded. David smiled, basking in it. Miranda kissed his cheek. I set down my wineglass and stood, walked toward the head table. The room got quieter. People noticed. You don't interrupt toasts. It's rude. I stopped in front of David and Miranda. Dad? David's smile faltered. What are you doing? Congratulations, I said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. On your wedding, on your new life, on becoming someone worthy. Miranda's eyes narrowed. Nathan, sit down. I just want to give you a wedding present, I said. I pulled out the envelope with their lease transfer document, the one they'd tried to make me sign. I'd brought it with me. Since you wanted this so badly, I tore it in half, then in half again. Let the pieces fall on the white tablecloth like confetti. Dad, stop. David's voice was tight, embarrassed. I'm not giving you my apartment, I said. I'm not disappearing into a senior home. I'm not pretending I don't exist so you can feel better about leaving your old life behind. The room was completely silent now. 200 people watching. Miranda stood. You're making a scene. Yeah, I am. She stepped closer. You selfish old man. We offered you a reasonable solution. A place with people your own age, where you'd be taken care of, but you're too stubborn and too proud. Miranda, David said weakly, not here. But she was past stopping. You've been a burden on David his entire life, keeping him tied to that mediocre apartment, that mediocre neighborhood, your mediocre expectations. He finally has a chance to be someone and you can't stand it. I raised him, I said quietly. While you were being born with a silver spoon, I was working 2 jobs to keep him fed. And now you want credit for doing the bare minimum? She laughed. An ugly sound. You want a parade for not abandoning your own kid. That's what parents are supposed to do. Give me the apartment keys, she said. Her voice was cold now, precise. Sign over the lease, walk away, let David live his life without dragging him down. No, she slapped me. The crack echoed in the silent ballroom. My cheek stung. I didn't move, just stared at her while she realized what she'd done. The phones were already out, recording, posting to social media probably. Miranda Westbrook slaps elderly man at wedding reception. David grabbed her arm. Miranda, Jesus Christ. She jerked away from him. He deserved it. Look at him, still standing there like he matters. I turned and walked out. Not quickly, not running, just walking. Past the silent tables, past the shocked faces, past Richard Westbrook's open mouth. I walked out the main entrance, down the marble steps, across the parking lot to my car. I sat there for 10 minutes, checking my face in the mirror. Red mark on my left cheek, would bruise by tomorrow. Then I pulled out my phone and called Tommy. "Mr. Cole? I need you at the wedding, now." "What happened?" "She slapped me, in front of everyone." Silence. Then, "I'm 20 minutes away, don't leave." "Tommy, I just want you here, for presents, not for—" "I know, just presents. I'll bring some guys. We'll be there soon." I waited. 15 minutes later, Tommy's Mercedes pulled into the lot, followed by 2 more cars, 6 men total, all in suits, all with that particular hardness that comes from doing ugly work. Tommy approached my window. "You okay?" "Been better." "You want to go back in?" "Yeah, just stand near me. Don't do anything. Just stand there." He smiled. "Intimidation by proximity. I can do that." We walked back inside. The reception had resumed, but the energy was different, quieter. People kept looking at the entrance. When we entered, conversation stopped. Tommy and his men spread out behind me. Not threatening, just there, present, radiating danger. I walked back to table 12, sat down. Tommy stood behind my chair, arms crossed. David appeared within minutes. "Dad, who are these people?" "Friends," I said. "Tell them to leave." "No." "Dad, please, you're embarrassing me." I looked up at him. "Your wife slapped me, in front of 200 people, and I'm the one embarrassing you?" "She was upset. You provoked her." "I refused to give up my home." "That's provoking." Miranda appeared next to him. Her face was pale. She'd seen Tommy, recognized what he represented. "David, call security." "Security's already aware," Tommy said quietly. "We had a chat. They're staying out of it." "This is illegal," Miranda said. "Harassment, intimidation." "We're just standing here," Tommy said. "That's not illegal." Richard Westbrook pushed through the crowd. "What's going on here?" "Your daughter assaulted an old man," Tommy said, "in front of witnesses, with video evidence. That's actually illegal." "Now wait." "No, you wait." Tommy's voice didn't rise, but something in it made Richard stop talking. "Mr. Cole here has been trying to have a nice evening at his son's wedding. He got slapped for not giving up his home. Now he's sitting quietly at his table, and we're standing here quietly behind him. If that's a problem for you, we can discuss it outside." Nobody moved. "Didn't think so," Tommy said. The rest of the reception was a disaster. Guests left early. The band played to a half-empty room. David and Miranda stood by the cake, looking miserable. I stayed at table 12 until the end, Tommy and his men behind me like stone pillars. When it was over, I stood and walked out. Tommy followed. "That was something," he said in the parking lot. "Thank you." "Mr. Cole, you know this isn't over, right? They're going to come at you harder now." "I know. You want protection? I can have someone watch your place." "Not yet, but I'll call if I need it." He handed me a business card, different from his regular one. This had only a phone number. "That's my personal cell, day or night." I drove home through empty streets, my cheek throbbing. Climbed the stairs to my apartment and sat in the dark thinking. They'd humiliated me publicly, tried to steal my home, slapped me in front of everyone, and I'd just shown them I wasn't as defenseless as they thought, but the real war hadn't started yet. Sunday morning, my phone rang at 6. "Sarah." "Dad, what the hell happened yesterday?" "You saw the videos?" "Everyone saw the videos. Miranda slapping you is all over social media. David's a wreck." "He should be." "Dad, you brought thugs to his wedding. Thugs." "Former students," I corrected, "who stood near me, didn't touch anyone." "You're making this worse. Just give them the apartment. Start fresh somewhere else." "Why are you being so stubborn?" "Because it's my home, Sarah. Because I raised you two there. Because your mother died in that bedroom, and I'm not giving it up so David can play house with his society wife." Silence. Then, "Mum told me something before she died. About you. About how you'd fight anything that threatened your comfort zone. She said you'd never change. What else did she say? Nothing. Look, I'm trying to help here. David's talking about legal options, power of attorney, conservatorship, says you're not making sound decisions. I'm 53. He says the way you're acting proves his point. I hung up, sat there processing. Legal options, conservatorship. They were going to try to have me declared incompetent, take control of my finances, my decisions, my life. I pulled out Claire's journal again, read more carefully, found an entry from April I'd skipped before. April 10th, met with David and his lawyer friend. They asked about Nathan's mental state, if he's been forgetful, confused. I told them no. They seemed disappointed. David said, "We're just trying to protect him, Mom." But the way he said it made my skin crawl. Setting up the legal framework to take control after she was gone, I needed proof. Real proof. I drove to David's condo in the Marina District, parked across the street and waited. At 9, he and Miranda left together, heading somewhere in her Lexus. I gave it 10 minutes, then walked to the building. The doorman knew me. "Mr. Cole, here to see David." He asked me to grab something from his place. Mind letting me up? Sure thing. Security in luxury buildings only works when people use it. The doorman waved me through. David's condo was on the 8th floor. I'd been there maybe 3 times. Clean, modern, expensive furniture. I had an emergency key he'd given me years ago, back when we still trusted each other. I let myself in, stood in his living room feeling like an intruder in my own son's life. His home office was down the hall, unlocked. Laptop on the desk, closed, but not password protected when I opened it. David always was lazy about security. I spent 30 minutes going through his emails, found what I was looking for in a folder labeled Dad Legal. Email chain between David and a lawyer named Gregory Foster. Dated back 18 months, started 3 months before Claire died. "Greg, need your advice on Dad's situation. Mom's not going to make it. Once she's gone, we need to move fast. He's got the apartment lease, some savings, life insurance payout. Miranda and I need capital for the down payment on a house. What's the best way to access his assets?" Greg's response: "If he's unwilling to cooperate, we'd need to establish incompetency. Medical documentation, pattern of poor decisions, potentially witnesses to cognitive decline. It's doable, but takes time. Start documenting everything now." David's reply: "Will do, thanks." More emails. David keeping notes. Dad forgot Sarah's birthday. I hadn't, I'd sent a card. Dad couldn't remember the name of Mum's doctor. I'd been stressed, mixing up names. Dad got confused about his bank statement. I'd questioned an incorrect charge, building a false narrative, creating evidence of incompetence where none existed. I took photos of everything with my phone, kept scrolling, found more recent emails. "Greg, wedding is this Saturday. Planning to approach Dad about the apartment lease after. If he refuses, we move to phase 2. Miranda's father has connections with a judge who's sympathetic to elder protection cases. We can fast-track conservatorship within 60 days. Phase 2. They had this planned like a military operation. Last email was from Thursday, 2 days before the wedding. "Greg, Dad's being difficult. Might need to move up timeline. Can you have the paperwork ready by Monday?" Tomorrow. They were filing conservatorship paperwork tomorrow. I copied everything to a USB drive I found in his desk drawer. Locked the condo behind me. The doorman waved as I left. Back home, I sat at my kitchen table with the evidence. Emails, Claire's journal. The timeline was clear. They'd been planning this since before Claire died, waiting for the right moment, building their case. The wedding was supposed to be the emotional leverage point. Make me sign over the lease in front of family, social pressure, guilt about ruining David's big day. When that failed, they'd moved to legal force. I called Tommy. "Mr. Cole." I need a lawyer. A good one. Someone who handles conservatorship cases. I know someone. Intimidating as hell in court. When do you need her? Today. I'll set it up. Mr. Cole, what did you find? I told him. He was quiet for a long moment. That's your own kid, he finally said, planning to take everything from you. Yeah. What do you want to do about it? Stop them, then make them regret it. Now you're talking my language. Her name was Rebecca Marsh, 50-something, sharp suit, sharper eyes. We met in her office downtown Sunday afternoon. Tommy sat in the corner, quiet but present. I told her everything, showed her the evidence. She read through it methodically, her expression never changing. This is premeditation, she finally said. They've been building a case for conservatorship based on fabricated evidence. That's fraud. Can you stop them? Already done. I filed an emergency motion this morning. The judge who was supposed to rubber stamp their petition is now recused due to conflict of interest. Your son's lawyer will get a very unpleasant surprise tomorrow morning. How did you... I have connections too. Better ones. She smiled, not warmly. Now, let's talk about what you want. Stopping this is easy. The question is, what comes after? I want them to know what it feels like, I said, to have everything taken away. Revenge, she said. I can work with that. Over the next hour, she laid out a strategy. Using the emails as evidence, we could pursue fraud charges, get restraining orders, freeze David's assets pending investigation, make it public, destroy his reputation. His career depends on trust, Rebecca said. Commercial real estate, networking, client relationships. Once word gets out that he tried to defraud his own father, who's going to do business with him? And Miranda, community property state. If David goes down, she goes down. Plus, that slap is assault on video. We can file criminal charges. Will they go to jail? Unlikely. First offense, good lawyers. But the legal fees will bankrupt them. The scandal will ruin them socially. They'll wish they'd gone to jail. Tommy leaned forward. What about the physical element? Mr. Cole got slapped in front of 200 people. That's disrespect. In my world, that demands an answer. Rebecca looked at him. I don't want to know about your world. Nobody's getting hurt, I said. Not physically, but Tommy's right. They need to understand there are consequences. Speak to me in hypotheticals only, Rebecca said carefully. Hypothetically, Tommy said, someone might want to make sure David and Miranda understand the social damage they've done. Make sure their friends and colleagues hear the full story. Make sure they feel isolated, abandoned, humiliated, the same way they tried to do to Mr. Cole. Hypothetically, Rebecca said, that would be protected speech. Telling the truth isn't illegal. Hypothetically, I said, I know people in David's industry, former colleagues, people who value loyalty and family, people who'd be very interested to hear what David did. Rebecca nodded slowly. Hypothetically, that sounds like a man exercising his First Amendment rights. We shook hands. She said she'd file additional motions in the morning, turn defense into offense. I left her office feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Power. Monday morning, I called in sick to Fletcher's. Jerry understood. Take the time you need. Then I started making calls. First, to Martin Hughes, who ran a commercial real estate firm downtown. I'd taught his daughter years back, written her a recommendation for USC. She'd graduated, worked in finance now. Martin still owed me for that. Nathan Cole, he said warmly. Been too long. How's retirement? Complicated. Martin, I need to talk to you about David. Your son? Hell of a kid. We've done some deals with his firm, sharp negotiator. That's what I'm calling about. I told him the story. All of it. The apartment scheme, the conservatorship plan, the fabricated evidence. Martin got quieter as I talked. You have proof? He finally asked. Emails. Documentation. Happy to share. Jesus, Nathan, his own father. Yeah. Send me what you've got, I'll circulate it. Quietly. Word gets around in this industry. People need to know who they're dealing with. Next call was to Patricia at the school district where I'd taught. She handled HR now. Nathan, how are you? We miss you around here. Patricia, I need a favor. Personal situation. Involves David. I told her a shortened version. Focused on the elder abuse angle. The fabricated incompetence claims. That's horrible, she said. What do you need? You know people. Social workers, counselors, advocacy groups. I need this story out there. Not publicly. Just in the right circles. So when David and Miranda try to join volunteer boards or society clubs or whatever the hell they do, people know what they really are. Consider it done. I know exactly who to call. Third call was to Tom Patterson, investigative reporter for the local newspaper. We'd been casual friends, met at community events. Tom, I have a story for you. Elder financial abuse, son trying to defraud his father, video evidence of assault, rich family trying to silence the victim. Jesus, when can we meet? Today. Bring your camera. By Tuesday afternoon, the story was everywhere, not just the newspaper. Social media picked it up. Elder rights advocacy groups shared it. Local news stations asked for interviews. The video of Miranda slapping me had already gone viral. Now there was context. The scheming, the legal manipulation, the cruelty. David and Miranda went from sympathetic couple with difficult father to villains overnight. My phone rang constantly. Interview requests, support messages. Some from people I hadn't talked to in years. David called Wednesday morning. Dad, what the hell are you doing? Telling the truth. You're ruining my career. Miranda's family is furious. We've lost 3 clients. My boss is talking about letting me go. Good. Good? Are you insane? No, David, I'm competent. Remember? That's what your lawyer's paperwork said. Completely competent. I was trying to help you. By stealing my home, by having me declared incompetent, that's help. You're being unreasonable. You always do this. Make everything harder than it needs to be. Sign a confession, I said. Public statement admitting what you tried to do. Apologize. Make it right. Absolutely not. Then it gets worse. You're bluffing. I hung up. Thursday, Rebecca filed civil suit, fraud, elder abuse, intentional infliction of emotional distress, asking for damages, legal fees, and punitive penalties. The court filing was public record. More media coverage. Friday, David's firm put him on administrative leave. Pending investigation, they said. Miranda's father Richard called, left a voicemail. You're a vindictive old man, Nathan. You've destroyed a young couple's future over petty grievances. I'll make sure you regret this. I saved the voicemail. Forwarded it to Rebecca. She smiled when she heard it. Threatening a plaintiff? That's bold. And stupid. By the following Monday, David and Miranda's entire social circle had frozen them out. Country club membership revoked. Charity board invitations withdrawn. Friends stopped returning calls. Tommy called that evening. Mr. Cole, you're doing good work, but there's something you should know. What? David's getting desperate. My guys have been watching his place. He's meeting with some questionable people, looking for leverage, might be planning something. Like what? Don't know yet, but you should be careful. Desperate people do stupid things. I thanked him and hung up, sat in my apartment thinking. This was working. The social destruction, the career collapse, the legal pressure, everything falling apart for them like dominoes. But Tommy was right. Cornered animals bite. I started noticing things Tuesday, small things. My car had been moved slightly in the parking garage. Scratches near the door lock like someone had tried to pick it. Mail that looked opened and resealed. Wednesday, I came home to find my apartment door unlocked. I always locked it. Always. Nothing seemed missing inside. But things were wrong. Books moved, desk drawer slightly open. Someone had been here. I called Tommy. They're looking for something, he said. Evidence, probably. Anything they can use against you. Should I call police? And say what? You think someone was in your place but nothing's stolen? They'll file a report and do nothing. No, we handle this differently. How? Let me put cameras in your apartment. Small ones, hidden. Next time they come, we'll catch them. Is that legal? It's your apartment. You can record whatever you want in your own home. He installed 6 cameras that evening. Tiny things, hidden in smoke detectors, clocks, picture frames. You can watch the feed from your phone, he said, showing me the app. Anyone comes in, you'll know immediately. Thursday morning, I was at Fletcher's when my phone buzzed. Camera alert. Someone entering the apartment. I pulled up the feed. David, letting himself in with a key I didn't know he had. Miranda with him. They wore gloves. I watched them search, going through drawers, files, closets, looking for something. Miranda found Claire's journal, started reading it. This doesn't have anything useful, she said, voice clear on the feed. Just sick woman rambling. David was at my desk. Where would he keep the insurance information? Bank statements? Maybe he already gave everything to that lawyer. Then we need something else. Something to prove he's unstable. Make him look dangerous. Miranda smiled. I have an idea. She pulled out a bottle from her purse. Pills. She opened my medicine cabinet, placed the bottle inside. I couldn't see the label clearly. What is that? David asked. Oxy, high dose. When the police eventually search, they'll find an elderly man with an opioid problem. Explains the erratic behavior, the paranoia, the aggression. Miranda, that's planting evidence. It's creating context. We tell the judge he's been acting strange, probably substance abuse. This supports our case. This is illegal. So is recording our wedding and ruining our lives. He started this. We're just fighting back. They left 10 minutes later. I had the whole thing on video. Trespassing, planting false evidence, conspiracy. I called Rebecca immediately. Don't touch the pills, she said. Don't go near them. Call the police non-emergency line. Say you found suspicious pills in your medicine cabinet that aren't yours. When they come, show them the video. I did exactly that. 2 officers arrived within an hour. Watched the video. Their faces went hard. This is serious, the older one said. Breaking and entering, evidence tampering, controlled substance possession. We need to bring them in. Will they be arrested? For this, absolutely. They took copies of the video, photographed the pill bottle, which turned out to be exactly what Miranda said. OxyContin, high dose, illegal without prescription. That evening, David and Miranda were arrested at their condo, booked on multiple felonies. Bail set at $50,000 each. Richard Westbrook paid their bail. They were out by midnight, but the damage was done. More headlines, lawyers circling. Career over for David. Miranda's family reputation shattered. Friday morning, David called from a restricted number. Not yet, I said. You haven't apologized. For what? Trying to help you? You tried to steal my home, have me declared incompetent, plant drugs in my apartment, and you still think you were helping? Silence. The conservatorship case is Monday, I said. Your lawyer's last desperate move. It'll fail. Rebecca's going to destroy you in court. Then comes the civil trial, then the criminal trial for the drugs. You're looking at years of legal hell, David. All because you couldn't just leave me alone. Dad, please, I'm begging. Drop the charges. We'll disappear. You'll never hear from us again. That's what you wanted from me, remember? To disappear. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. Is that what you want to hear? It's too late for sorry. I hung up. Monday morning, the conservatorship hearing. I arrived early with Rebecca. Tommy came too, sitting in the gallery with 2 of his guys. Moral support. David and Miranda arrived with their lawyer, Gregory Foster. David looked like hell. Three-piece suit that couldn't hide the weight loss, dark circles under his eyes. Miranda's designer armor was cracking too. No makeup could cover that stress. Judge Sandra Morrison presided. She'd reviewed all the evidence beforehand. I could tell from her face she wasn't impressed with David's petition. Foster presented their case, painted me as declining, unstable, unable to manage my affairs, cited the forgotten birthday, the confusion about medical names, my aggressive behavior at the wedding. Rebecca tore him apart. Your Honor, the petitioners claim Mr. Cole is incompetent, yet he successfully uncovered a complex fraud scheme, collected evidence, coordinated with multiple professionals, and managed his own legal defense. Does that sound like someone who can't manage his affairs? She presented the emails, the timeline, Claire's journal, the video of them planting drugs. This isn't about protecting Mr. Cole, it's about stealing from him. The petitioners fabricated evidence of incompetence to gain control of his assets. When that failed, they escalated to criminal acts. This petition should be dismissed with prejudice, and I'm requesting sanctions against the petitioners and their counsel for bringing a frivolous case. Foster tried to respond. Your Honor, Your intentions are documented in writing, Mr. Foster. Judge Morrison's voice was ice. I've read the emails. This is fraud, clear and premeditated. She denied the petition, awarded me legal fees, referred Foster to the State Bar for ethics review. David's face collapsed. Miranda started crying. Not sad crying, angry crying. Outside the courthouse, media was waiting. I'd called them, more specifically Rebecca had. She believed in maximizing damage. Mr. Cole, how do you feel about today's outcome? Vindicated, I said. My son tried to steal my home and have me declared incompetent. The judge saw through it. Justice was served. What message do you have for other elderly people facing similar situations? Fight back. Document everything. Don't be afraid to expose family members who abuse you. Perfect soundbite. It would play on every news station. David tried to leave through a side exit. Reporters caught him anyway. Mr. Cole, do you regret your actions against your father? No comment. Will you apologize for the assault and fraud? No comment. Your father says you tried to steal his home. True, David snapped. My father's a bitter old man who can't accept that I've built a better life. He's jealous and vindictive, and he's destroying my family. The cameras caught all of it. The anger, the lack of remorse, the victim blaming. Rebecca smiled. He just gave us everything we need for the civil trial. David's firm fired him Tuesday. Miranda's family cut them off financially. Their condo went into foreclosure. Friends completely ghosted them. By Wednesday, they'd moved into a cheap apartment in a bad neighborhood, the kind of place David used to sneer at. Tommy's guys reported back. They're falling apart. Fights constantly. Miranda's family lawyer is working on an annulment. Says the marriage is unsalvageable. Good, I thought. Let them feel what I felt. Abandoned. Betrayed. Alone. Thursday evening, someone threw a brick through my apartment window. Wrapped around it was a note. Hope you're proud of what you've done. David's handwriting. I called police. Filed report. Added it to the growing case file. More evidence. More ammunition. Friday, Rebecca called. The criminal trial for the planted drugs is scheduled. 3 months. David's lawyer is trying to plead down, but the DA wants to make an example. Affluent kids trying to frame their elderly father. It plays well politically. Will they do prison time? Maybe. Year or 2 if convicted. More likely probation, fines, community service. But the felony conviction stays. No more career in real estate for David. No society life for Miranda. Good. Nathan, I have to ask. How far are you planning to take this? As far as it takes. They're broken already. Career gone, marriage falling apart, criminal charges pending. Most people would stop here. Most people's children didn't try to destroy them. She was quiet for a moment. Just remember, revenge has a cost, even when you win. I didn't care about costs anymore. Saturday morning, David showed up at Fletcher's Hardware. I was restocking paint when I saw him enter. He looked terrible. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, desperate eyes. "Dad, we need to talk." "We have nothing to talk about." "Please, 5 minutes." Jerry noticed, stepped closer. "Everything okay, Nathan?" "It's fine. My son was just leaving." "I'm not leaving." David's voice rose. "Not until you listen." Other customers were staring. I didn't want a scene in my workplace. "Outside," I said. We walked into the parking lot. David followed. "What do you want?" I asked. "I want you to stop, drop the charges, end the lawsuit, let us rebuild our lives." "Why would I do that?" "Because I'm your son. Because family should mean something." I laughed. Harsh. "Family? You tried to steal my home, have me locked away, plant drugs in my apartment, and now you want to talk about family." "I made mistakes, we both did." "No, you made choices, calculated, deliberate choices. You chose Miranda's money over your own father, chose society status over loyalty, chose greed over integrity." "I was trying to build a life, by tearing mine apart." He stepped closer. "You're enjoying this, watching us suffer. You've become cruel, Dad. Mom would be ashamed. Don't you dare bring her into this. Mom knew what you were. She wrote it in her journal. She knew you were circling, waiting for her to die so you could take everything." His face went white. "You read her private." David's hands clenched into fists. "Take it back." "No." He swung at me. Sloppy, telegraphed. I'd been taking boxing classes at Tommy's gym for 3 weeks. Not much, but enough. I ducked. His fist missed. Off balance, he stumbled. I didn't hit back, just watched him recover. Jerry was already calling police from the doorway. "You're pathetic," I said. "Even your violence is weak." Police arrived within minutes. Assault charge added to David's growing list. Jerry gave a statement. Video from the store's parking lot camera captured everything. David was arrested again. Bail revoked this time. Judge Morrison was done with chances. He sat in county jail over the weekend. No money for bail. Richard wouldn't help anymore. Miranda filed for divorce Monday. 3 months later, the criminal trial. David took a plea deal. 2 years probation, 500 hours community service, restitution for my legal fees. Felony conviction on his record. Miranda got similar terms. Their divorce was finalized. She moved back to her family's estate, tail between her legs. David ended up in a studio apartment working retail. The civil suit settled. David signed over any claim to my apartment, my savings, anything of mine. Paid damages. Publicly apologized in a statement Rebecca drafted. It wasn't enough. I wanted him to understand what he'd taken from me. Not just the apartment or money. The trust. The belief that family meant something. So I did one final thing. I bought the building where David was living. Cheap property, bad neighborhood, but the owner wanted out. I used the settlement money. Became David's landlord. Every month he paid rent to me. Looked me in the eye when he handed over the check. Remembered who held power now. I didn't raise his rent, didn't evict him, just existed as the person he depended on, the person he'd tried to destroy. We never spoke beyond the business transaction. No small talk, no attempts at reconciliation, just landlord and tenant, father and son in name only. Sarah called once, asked if I was satisfied. "Are you?" I asked. "You turned our family into a nightmare." David did that. I just finished what he started. She hung up. Haven't heard from her since. Tommy visited regularly, proud of how I'd handled things. "You learned well, Mr. Cole. Revenge doesn't have to be violent to be devastating." "Is this what you do?" I asked. "Destroy people systematically?" "Sometimes, when they deserve it." "Do I deserve it? What I've done?" He thought about it. You didn't start this. You just refused to be a victim. There's a difference. Maybe. Or maybe I'd become exactly what they'd accused me of. Bitter, vindictive, cruel. But at night, when I sat in my apartment, the one I'd defended, I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. 6 months after the trial, David stopped paying rent. First month, I let it slide, sent a notice. Second month, started eviction proceedings. He showed up at my door. First time he'd come to the apartment since breaking in to plant drugs. I can't pay, he said. Lost my job. Can't find anything with the felony record. Not my problem. Dad, please, I'm begging. 1 more month. You had chances to make this right. You chose pride over family every time. Like you're choosing now? No, I'm choosing consequences. Something you never learned. I'll be homeless. Then you'll know what you tried to do to me. He left. I filed eviction. Judge granted it. 30 days. Miranda heard about it somehow. Showed up at Fletcher's 3 weeks later. You're evicting your own son, she said, making him homeless. That's who you are now. That's who I've always been, someone who doesn't tolerate betrayal. We made mistakes. We apologized. You apologized because you got caught, because you faced consequences, not because you understood what you did wrong. What do you want from us? I want you to suffer the way I suffered, to feel abandoned and betrayed and powerless, to know that the person you trusted most in the world doesn't care if you live or die. Her face went pale. You're a monster. No, I'm a father who learned his children were monsters. I'm just reflecting what I was shown. She left crying. The eviction went through. David moved into a shelter. I heard through the community grapevine. Part of me felt something. Guilt, maybe. Concern. The part that still remembered holding him as a baby, teaching him to ride a bike, believing he'd grow into someone good. But that part was small now, overshadowed by the memory of him scheming to steal my home while his mother died, planting drugs to frame me, slapping me at his own wedding. Actions have consequences. I'd taught him that lesson too late, but he'd learned it eventually. 1 year later, David found work at a warehouse. Hard labor, minimum wage, nothing like the career he'd lost. He moved into a different cheap apartment, paid his rent on time. We'd see each other occasionally. Grocery store, street corner. He'd look away quickly. Ashamed or angry, I couldn't tell. Sarah called on Christmas. You won, Dad. Happy? You destroyed your own son. He tried to destroy me first. And this is how you respond, by becoming exactly what you hated. I don't hate him, Sarah. I don't feel anything for him. That's worse. That's so much worse. Maybe she was right. Tommy stopped by New Year's Eve. Brought whiskey. We sat in my apartment drinking. You ever regret it? He asked. How far you took things? Every day, I admitted. And not at all. That's the thing about revenge. It satisfies something, but it doesn't heal anything. Who said I wanted healing? He smiled. You're harder than I thought, Mr. Cole. Most people crack eventually, feel guilty, want to make amends. Do you? With the people you've hurt? No, but I chose this life. You had it chosen for you. Maybe that's the difference. We drank in silence. Outside, fireworks started. New Year beginning. Same old grudges continuing. Emma showed up at my apartment in February. She was 8 now, taller, more serious. Grandpa? Emma, what are you doing here? Dad gave me your address, said I should visit if I wanted. Does your mother know you're here? She moved to Oregon. Dad has custody now. He works nights. I stay with a babysitter most of the time. My heart clenched. Whatever David had done, Emma was innocent. Come in, I said. She sat on my couch, looked around. This is where Dad grew up. Yes. He never talks about it. Never talks about you either. I'm sure he has reasons. He cries sometimes, late at night, thinks I'm asleep, but I hear him. I didn't want to hear this. Didn't want to feel anything. Emma, why are you here? I wanted to see you. I remember before the wedding, before everything got bad. You were nice to me. You're the only family I have now besides Dad. What about your grandmother? Miranda's mother? She says I'm not a Westbrook. Says the divorce erased me from the family. 8 years old and already learning about conditional love, about how family can vanish when you're no longer useful. Just like I'd taught David. I should go, she said, standing. Dad doesn't know I came. He'd be upset. Emma, wait. She turned. Come back next week. Same time. We'll get ice cream. Her face lit up. Really? Really? After she left, I sat there for a long time, thinking about consequences, about cycles of revenge and abandonment, about 8-year-old girls paying for their father's sins. I'd won the war against David, destroyed him completely, proven my point about betrayal and consequences. But sitting there in my defended apartment, my protected home, I felt hollow. Tommy had been right. Revenge satisfied something, but it didn't heal anything. And now an innocent kid was caught in the crossfire of my vindication. I started seeing Emma weekly, ice cream dates, park visits, helping with homework. David didn't object, couldn't afford to. He needed help with childcare. We didn't talk, David and I. He'd drop Emma off, pick her up, no conversation beyond logistics. The wounds were too fresh, probably always would be. But Emma talked about school, friends, her mother who'd left, about her father who worked constantly and came home exhausted. He says he made mistakes, she told me one afternoon. Says he hurt people and now he's paying for it. I asked who he hurt. He wouldn't say. Emma, your father and I had a disagreement. Adult stuff, not your concern. He hurt you, didn't he? Smart kid? Yes. Are you going to hurt him back forever? Out of the mouths of children, sharp and devastating. I don't know, I said honestly. March brought David's birthday. He turned 33. I remembered his birth, Claire exhausted and happy, holding this tiny person we'd created, promising to protect him, raise him right, give him better than we'd had. I sent him a text, first direct communication in a year. Happy birthday. No response for 3 hours. Then, thanks. That was it. No reconciliation, no breakthrough, just basic acknowledgement. But it was something. April. I was at Fletcher's when David walked in, needed supplies for a repair at his apartment, cheaper to do it himself than call maintenance. We saw each other across the store. He hesitated, then walked over. Hi, he said. Hi. Awkward silence. Emma says you've been seeing her, he said. Thank you. She needs family. She's a good kid. Yeah. Takes after her mother. Before... He trailed off. Before the divorce. Before everything. He shifted his weight. Look, I know you don't want to hear this, but I am sorry. Genuinely. Not because of consequences. Because I understand what I tried to do was unforgivable. I studied him, looking for lies, manipulation, angles, saw only exhaustion and defeat. Apologies don't undo actions, I said. I know. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just acknowledgement that I know I was wrong. Acknowledged. He nodded, bought his supplies, left. Jerry appeared at my elbow. That go okay? As good as it could. You going to forgive him? I don't know. Maybe forgiveness isn't the point. Then what is? I thought about Emma, about cycles and consequences, about whether I wanted her to grow up learning that family meant eternal punishment for mistakes. Maybe the point is knowing when to stop, I said. I called Rebecca in May. I want to drop the property ownership of David's building, I said. Sell it, separate myself from his life. That's your leverage, she said. Why give it up? Because I'm tired. Because having power over him doesn't feel like victory anymore. It feels like a weight. You've changed. Maybe. Or maybe I'm just done fighting. She arranged the sale. I told David he had 90 days to find new housing. Market rate, fair terms. Not charity, but not punishment either. He found a better apartment, better neighborhood, job at a construction company that didn't do background checks. He was building something again. Small, modest, but his. June. Emma's 9th birthday. She invited me to her party. Small gathering at a park. David's friends from work, their kids. No society people, no Westbrooks. Just normal families doing normal things. David saw me arrive, tensed. "Emma invited me," I said. "If you want me to leave." "No. Stay. She'd be disappointed if you left." We stood on opposite sides of the park, watching Emma play. Not enemies anymore, not family either. Something in between. Sarah called that evening, first time in almost a year. "I heard you're seeing Emma," she said. "Yes." "And you've been less hostile to David?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because Emma deserves better than our war. Because maybe I proved my point enough. Because I'm tired of being angry." "So you forgive him?" "No, but I'm choosing to stop actively destroying him. There's a difference." She was quiet. Then, "I'm still in Seattle, but maybe I could visit. In a few months. See Emma, see you. I'd like that. Small steps, tiny progress, not reconciliation, just less war." September, 2 years since the wedding. Since the slap that started everything. I was closing up Fletcher's when David appeared outside, waiting. "Can we talk?" he asked. We sat on the bench outside the store. Evening settling in, street lights flickering on. "Emma wants us to have dinner together," he said. "The three of us. She's been asking for months. What do you think?" "I think it would make her happy. I think she deserves that." "Okay. Okay? Yeah, let's have dinner." He looked surprised. "You're serious?" "I'm serious." We set it for the following Friday. Italian place Emma loved. Casual, public, safe. The dinner was awkward. Small talk, careful conversation, avoiding landmines. But Emma was happy. Radiant. Watching her grandfather and father in the same room without tension. After, walking to our cars, David stopped me. "I know I destroyed what we had," he said. "I know I can't rebuild it. But maybe we can build something new. Not father and son, but two people who share Emma, who want what's best for her. I can work with that. Thank you." He drove away with Emma, waving from the passenger seat. I stood in the parking lot, thinking about revenge and forgiveness and the space between. About whether I'd won or lost this war. Whether anyone wins when families tear themselves apart. The truth was complicated. David had tried to destroy me. I'd fought back harder than he'd imagined possible. Crushed him systematically. Taught him about consequences and betrayal. But in doing so, I'd become someone Claire wouldn't recognize. Someone who valued vindication over healing. Who'd turned love into a weapon and family into a battlefield. I'd won. Completely and thoroughly. David's career was ruined. His marriage destroyed. His future limited by felony convictions and bad choices. And I'd lost. The son I'd raised was gone. The family I'd protected was shattered. The values I'd taught for 25 years in classrooms, forgiveness, growth, second chances, had crumbled under the weight of my own hurt. Tommy called later that night. "How'd it go?" he asked. "Okay, strange. Better than I expected." "You going soft on me, Mr. Cole?" "Maybe. Or maybe I'm finally learning what you tried to teach me. That revenge has limits. That winning sometimes means knowing when to stop." "Took you long enough?" "Yeah." I hung up and looked around my apartment, the place I'd defended so fiercely, my home, my sanctuary, my prize. It felt emptier than it should. Emma texted before bed. "Thanks for coming to dinner, Grandpa. Love you." 3 words, simple and devastating. Reminder of what mattered more than apartments and revenge. I texted back, "Love you too." Then, after a long moment, I texted David. "Same time next month?" His response came immediately. "Yes. Thank you, Dad." Dad. He'd called me Dad. I stared at the word on my screen. Not forgiveness, not redemption, just a crack in the wall. Small light in long darkness. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all anyone could ask after the kind of war we'd fought. I turned off the lights and went to bed. The war was over. Both of us scarred. Both of us changed. Neither of us victorious in any real sense. But Emma had her family back. Broken and strange, and nothing like before. But there. And maybe, in the end, that mattered more than winning ever could. Outside my window, the city hummed, lives continuing, grudges fading, people learning and failing and trying again. I closed my eyes, felt something unfamiliar. Peace, not complete, not perfect, but there. A beginning instead of an ending. They'd tried to destroy me. I'd fought back with everything I had, proved I was stronger than they imagined, made them pay for their betrayal in ways they'd never forget. But I'd also learned that revenge satisfies but doesn't heal, that power over someone isn't the same as peace with yourself, that sometimes the real victory is choosing to stop fighting. David would never be the son I'd raised. I'd never be the father he remembered. Too much damage, too many scars. But we could be two men who loved the same little girl, who showed her that family could survive mistakes, that forgiveness wasn't weakness, that choosing peace took more strength than choosing war. I fell asleep thinking about the dinner next month, wondering if Sarah would join us, if slowly, impossibly, we might build something from the ruins. Not what we'd lost, something new. Maybe that was the real lesson, not about revenge or consequences, about what comes after, about whether you can find anything worth keeping in the ashes of your own vindication. I didn't know the answer yet, but for the first time in 2 years I wanted to find out. The apartment creaked around me, familiar sounds, Claire's presence in the walls somehow, watching, hoping I'd finally learned what she'd tried to teach me before the cancer took her. Family isn't perfect, people fail each other. Betrayal happens, but giving up on them entirely means giving up part of yourself. I'd almost made that mistake, almost let revenge consume everything worth saving. Emma had stopped me, reminded me what mattered. Not the apartment, not the victory, not the satisfaction of watching David suffer. The chance to break the cycle, to show his daughter a different way, to be the grandfather she deserved instead of the vengeful old man I'd become. That was the real ending, not dramatic or explosive, just a choice to stop fighting, to build instead of destroy, to let the wounds finally start healing. I'd had my revenge, thorough and devastating. Now I had to live with who I'd become in pursuing it, and try to be something better for the granddaughter who still believed I could be.